All we see is love.
This is disgusting. This is awful in every way. If I could kill it, I would. But I legally can't. But I've considered it.
I promise I'm gonna be level-headed, so to speak, because while this is primarily the big thing everyone loves to mention and complain about, I don't think it's fair to pin the whole blame on the movie's failure on Ben Platt. That being said,
holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
yeah, no, I completely agree. Platt's casting in this movie was a massive mistake for multiple different reasons. For starters, look at him! The poor dude was 27 when he did this movie. This is what he looked like in 2021, and this is what I looked like in 2021. He is older than me by literally 7 days. And don't even get me started on the Jufro. What the hell was he thinking with this? He looks like Steve Buscemi in 30 Rock saying,
How do you do, fellow kids?
What?
The big problem with the casting here isn't just that he's too old though. The problem is that his casting was done so deliberately in an attempt to recapture the magic that the stage version created. What the movie, and Ben for that matter, clearly don't understand is that his performance on stage is not going to be the same performance that would work on film. Having Ben Platt doing the same performance he did on stage but on film is the equivalent of having, say, Kevin Conroy voicing Batman in an adaptation of The Killing Joke. Oh fucking wait! And yes, I'm perfectly aware that this is less an issue with Ben himself and more with the direction that he was given. However, none of this was an accident. His father, Mark Platt, is also the producer for this movie, which of course led to many accusations of nepotism on his part. Ben himself, to his credit, took the high road and understood the criticisms while apologizing to all of his fans for his poor performance. I'm just kidding. He threw a shit fit and gave the prissiest, self-absorbed response I have ever seen in my life. No joke. This is what he said.
It is, and so if my thing is something that I can't control at all, which is my age, then like, bring it on. You know what I mean? Like, I'm glad it's not about the performance or my voice or anything that actually matters. It's the fact that I created the role and workshopped it for 3 years and did all of the out-of-town productions and originated on Broadway and received the accolades that I did, and also not really understanding the fact that, like, were I not to do the movie, it probably wouldn't get made. There wasn't really any question on anyone actually connected to the piece or who was actually a part of the film. There was never any kind of discussion that it wouldn't be me.
Don't fuck with me, fellas!
You can almost hear the erection popping as he talks about himself. Okay, Ben. Alright, fair point. You're right. You know what? You're right. You got a point. It's not your age that should matter, it's your performance. So, how exactly was your performance in this movie?
I think, sorry.
Gee, good thing we're not focusing on your age, Ben. God forbid the discourse would distract us from your Razzie-nominated performance! Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. This is one of the biggest falls from grace I have ever seen from an up-and-coming talent like this since Lea Michele. I'm kidding. Lea Michele never had any grace. It really saddens me to see him in this film because I know Ben Platt is a legitimately amazing actor and an even more wonderful singer. But this movie is not a representative of those talents. It is abundantly clear that Ben gave a fantastic performance on Broadway many years ago during his prime, and even earned a Tony Award for Best Actor at an early age. These are not small features, this is huge! Here, however, the only thing more distracting from his appallingly bad performance is the unsettling presentation that shows him towering over a then 24-year-old Kaitlyn Dever during the performance of Only Us, where he straight up looks like an older gentleman about to take advantage of a young woman. And before anybody says anything, I know that they are roughly the same age, but look at them. One clearly looks like a teenager, and the other thought that a Jufro, weight loss, and shaving cream could take 10 years off his face. Okay, that one might have been a little too harsh, I admit. But in my defense, Ben brought all of this entirely on himself. If this movie really cannot be made without him, and this is the best performance that we can get from him, then maybe it's best that the movie never gets made. And I hate to say it, but it doesn't end with just him. the rest of this movie is bad for different reasons. The most egregious, in my opinion, being the ridiculous excuse for direction that this movie had.
We accept the love we think we deserve.
Can we make them know that they deserve more?
We can try.
This is a scene from The Perks of Being a Wallflower, a beloved young adult novel turned into a beloved young adult movie starring Logan Lerman, Emma Watson, and future crime against humanity Ezra Miller. The film is about a socially awkward teenager without a broken arm named Charlie, who's always watching life from the sidelines until two charismatic students become his mentors and help Charlie discover the joys of friendship, first love, music, and so much more, all the while the teacher sparks hope in Charlie's dreams of becoming a writer. However, as his new friends prepare to leave for college, Charlie's inner sadness threatens to shatter his newfound confidence. To many, this is a relatable look at what teenage life is like through the eyes of actual teenagers, even though they're all in their damn 20s. To others, it is the fakest and silliest example of teenagers being written by grown-ups that's way too conservative to be considered realistic. Yeah, sure.
Oh. I don't know what this is, but it's kind of hot.
If you ask me, it's the movie that gave rise to the Tumblr era, and if you remember what the internet was like during that age, then you remember a lot of gifs of Logan Lerman and Ezra Miller being shared around, and probably also saw this wonderful image being shared on social media. Yeah, you know exactly what this is, and if you don't remember, now you do. The movie was inescapable, and not in a good way in my opinion. Having watched it as an adult, I see exactly why this movie spoke to so many people, though it definitely feels like a movie that has aged about as gracefully as Woody Allen's reputation. Still, the positives are there, and as far as teen dramas go, this is easily one of the best and most easily accessible, and hey, at least it didn't pointlessly include one of its characters becoming a school shooter, but what stupid company would be dumb enough to do that? And I walked right into that one!
The reason I'm talking about this movie is for one very important reason: Stephen Chbosky. Chbosky wrote The Perks of Being a Wallflower in 1999, and despite multiple failed attempts to ban the book and have it moved to the adult book section by scared parents, who were afraid of kids reading a book that talks about masturbation,
because kids and teenagers are totally not masturbating or watching porn, especially not on any of the readily accessible methods that you yourself happily gave them because you were too lazy to be a parent. Way to go, Deidre!
The book became a massive bestseller, selling over 1 million copies and gained a massive cult following around children, teens, and young adults. Despite the polarizing reviews at the time, which mostly came from conservative dipshits that were afraid of a book talking about sex and homosexuality in a positive way, making the baby Jesus cry.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the...
Nope.
The book's popularity garnered enough buzz for a film adaptation to be made, one which wouldn't see the light of day until September 21st, 2012, with Chbosky not only doing the screenplay based off of his own book, but also sitting down in the directing chair, which to his credit was a very smart move as he was already an experienced screenwriter and director despite this being his first big project.
The Perks of Being a Wallflower was released with the best possible reception that an adaptation like this could have received. Reviews for the film were extremely positive, receiving around an 86% on Rotten Tomatoes. The film was a huge hit with its intended demographic. It gave us the last great performance by Ezra Miller before they ruined their career and their reputation forever. And despite it not being a gigantic financial hit, the movie made over twice its budget with a total of $33.3 million worldwide on a $13 million budget.
Hint! Hint! Universal!
The point I'm trying to get across here is that Chbosky has more than proven himself to be the perfect man for an adaptation such as this, as the serious and heartbreaking subject matter is perfectly on Chbosky's wheelhouse, along with the sentimentality growing up with his surprising hit Wonder. He also had experience when it came to writing musicals for the 2017 live-action remake of Beauty and the Beast. So with all these credentials out of the way, I need to ask, what the fuck happened with Dear Evan Hansen?
The whole goddamn movie suffers from an identity crisis. It's trying to be a serious teen drama, it's also trying to be inspiring and uplifting, and it's trying to be a musical at the same time, and it fails tremendously for reasons that surprisingly were not even Pasek and Paul's fault.
The anonymous ones.
No, don't worry. We'll get to that.
It's hard to explain what's wrong with the direction of this movie without needlessly and unfairly comparing it to other movie musicals, but Dear Evan Hansen was directed in a way that was too scared to be a musical, while still trying to cater to fans of the original stage show. Meaning that while sequences have been altered and ridiculous decisions leave me asking why they even bothered, the movie tries in earnest to fulfill the musical aspect of the show while still trying to maintain the seriousness of the story in a balanced way. And it just doesn't work.
Yeah, far be it from me to say that Pasek and Paul's terrible blend of generic feel-good blandness doesn't work with a story as serious and morose as this one. One which, according to Pasek and Paul themselves, is based on a true story of how they heard some guy in high school die of a drug overdose and people started reacting to it in different ways.
It was based on, very loosely, an incident that happened in my high school of observing that a kid who I didn't really know very well and many of my classmates didn't know very well passed away, and once he passed away he became everyone's best friend after his death, and people began to use his death as a means of being seen and being heard and being noticed in a way, and I sort of did it too, and I became sort of obsessed with this kid who I didn't really know.
Dude, what the f***?
But people would also use his death as the subject of their college essays, and in these really sort of messed up ways. And when Justin and I met and we went to college together, we would also talk about this idea, and that this phenomenon wasn't just with this singular kid who had died, but also the way that 9/11 affected our generation, or the way that we glom onto a tragedy that might not necessarily belong to us.
What the fuck are you talking about, man?
The problem, however, isn't just that these songs are terrible or don't mesh with the story. The problem is that the songs were not shot as musical numbers, despite this being, a fucking musical!
God, how do I explain this in a way that makes sense? Okay, you got In the Heights the musical, and then you got In the Heights the movie.
With the former, you have an impressively choreographed musical number in a wonderfully paced story presented on a stage big enough where both the set and the actors are all visible for all to see, as the imagination is allowing the audience to fill in the blanks as to what might be happening. Then you have the movie that takes that impressively choreographed musical number and fills in the blanks that the imagination creates with one of the most inventive, exciting, and creative musical sequences of all time. One worthy for both the song in question and the musical it belongs to.
Dear Evan Hansen has none of that. There's no creativity, no imagination, and while I'm not expecting any excitement in a story like this, I'm also not expecting every musical number to be so unbelievably fucking boring. But hold on, I hear you saying. Didn't you say that this movie was trying to cater to fans of the original stage show? How can they do that if the musical numbers suck? I'm glad that you asked. Allow me to explain, you incredibly annoying individual.
What the fuck was that? Anyway, yes, the movie tries to cater to fans of the original stage show. Notice, however, how I didn't say fans of the musical, or fans of the story, or anything like that. See, when I refer to fans of the stage show, I mean that literally. The movie presents nearly every song, the ones it didn't choose to remove, more on that later, as these stale, bland performances as if they were being performed on stage instead of on a film set. Every single song is just people standing, people walking, people sitting, and if you're extremely lucky, people driving. Those who actually saw the musical, or downloaded a bootleg like yours truly, know that while this is technically a musical, a majority of the songs are choreographed very simplistically while allowing the drama of the story to unfold as the stage works with its actors to breathe more life into the story presented in the songs. At least if they had any. The problem is that while that works perfectly on stage, it doesn't translate well at all when presented on film.
The fucking irony about all of this is that by keeping the same structure that the stage show had, it has the opposite effect on film. Because film means show, don't tell. So you have a wonderful song waving through a window which sings about one's insecurities and their inability to stand out in a world they desperately want to be a part of, only to feel like you're being walked over and ignored by everyone around you. A song that was beautifully presented on stage with a combination of screens displaying social media sites, while people familiar to Evan Hansen are walking past or turning their backs on him as he desperately sings for someone to hear,
is presented almost literally as Evan is staring into a window before the direction changes to him singing in a hallway as people are casually minding their own business as he sings openly and I guess in a non-diegetic way. Otherwise, several bullies will be shoving his ass in a locker just to shut him the fuck up.
Shut when you think about God!
This is also another good example of why Evan Hansen was completely miscast for this movie. Not only does he look way too old and too tall to fit in high school, he also makes every one of those scenes where he's surrounded by actual adults that much more jarring. Especially when he starts singing. Speaking of which...
When the sharpest words wanna cut me down, I'm gonna send a flood, gonna drown them out. I am brave, I am bruised.
Get down off the cross, honey. Somebody needs the wood.
I made it no secret that I cannot stand Pasek and Paul. I hate how none of their songs have any weight or meaning to any of them, and I despise the fact that they're glorified radio hits that can easily be used outside of their intended property. They're such terrible songwriters that it baffles me to this day that How Far I'll Go lost the Oscar for Best Original Song to this embarrassment from La La Land.
They're in the bars, or through the smokescreen of the crowded restaurants.
That's disgusting.
Make him stop!
That being said, Dear Evan Hansen marks one of the few times where their music almost works. It's one of the few things I didn't complain about as much during my old Dear Evan Hansen video.
My sister's hot. What the hell?
Except for that one. Don't get me wrong, these songs aren't particularly good, but for every decent musical number that exists only for radio success, there's the occasional song that actually does fit in within the story and helps to move it forward. And guess how many of those songs were completely removed from the movie version?
In one of the most ass-backwards decisions made for Dear Evan Hansen the movie, 4 songs from the original musical were omitted from the movie as part of the already terrible direction that it was going for. The show opener, Anybody Have a Map, Disappear, which was Connor's only musical number that's not a duet, To Break in a Glove, which is Connor's father Larry's only musical number in the entire show, not counting Requiem, and finally, Good For You, which is the only song in this show in which Evan Hansen received any kind of repercussion for his actions.
Trying to fix the story, Kinda sounds to me like you're trying to give Evan even less consequences for him to be held accountable for. Either that, or you deliberately rewrote the script to tell the story from Evan's perspective in a narcissistic attempt to capture Ben Platt's performance while screwing over every other character who had an important number in the original musical. Oh wait, that's exactly what they did.
This marks a huge problem for more than just a few missing songs. I'm not done with you, Larry. It also marks a huge problem with the structure of the story itself. Look, I hated Anybody Have a Map as a song. It's terrible, the lyrics suck, and the production sounds like ass, making it the worst possible song to open the show with.
We get it! Move on!
The song itself, for better or worse, is still an important piece to introduce the cast and characters of the show, along with giving the audience a close look into the lives of the most important characters in the lives of Connor and Evan.
Oh, fuck this movie. No reason why, just what this movie does to Evan's mother is nothing short of criminal, but I'm getting ahead of myself.
And of course, this wouldn't be a terrible movie adaptation of a popular musical without a terrible added-for-the-movie musical number made to generate Oscar buzz. This movie has 2 of them, but I'm only gonna focus on one for now, as it is easily, without a doubt, the biggest misfire that this movie has at its disposal.
The anonymous ones.
This is a song called The Anonymous Ones. No, I'm sorry, I mean The Anonymous Ones. The Anonymous Ones. Anonymous Ones. Get it? It's like anonymous, but it's us. And we're the ones. The anonymous ones.
Anonymous. I hate that. It's like that Katy Perry song, Unconditional. It's like that's not how you say anonymous. Anonymous. I don't like it.
somewhere, Steven Sondheim is rolling in his grave so hard he's bumping into Howard Ashman by mistake. And they're both fucking pissed. This is a song made specifically for the character Alana Beck, written by Pasek and Paul along with Alana Beck herself, Amanda Stenberg. Or as I like to call her, the reason why I hate Huey from The Boys.
You're a fucking pathetic cunt.
The Anonymous Ones is a song that was written to flesh out Alana Beck a bit more in the movie, since her character was so one-dimensional that you can almost see directly through her no matter what amazing actress of color portrayed her on stage. Honestly, this entire character in general was such a huge can of worms that I completely forgot about her in the original video that I made because she really was that one note and significant to the story. Her big motivation is that she's this big overachiever and she only exists to be the reason Evan Hansen is forced to admit the lies that he's told and then completely disappears from the rest of the story afterwards. For God's sake, Jared had more of a necessary role in the story. Jared! Fucking Jared! The song itself is just fine. I mean, it helps that Amanda Stenberg is clearly a better songwriter than Pasek and Paul, so she at least was able to give the song some semblance of weight and managed to give her attention-starved character more of her personality. And to be fair, she was also able to work more with what little the original gave her. There is, however, one little problem. One tiny little issue. One itsy-bitty little fucking predicament. Alana Beck, for try as Amanda Stenberg did, is still a very insignificant part of the story, and that song added nothing to it. Alana Beck is already a very controversial character within the show because she is a character who does very little in the grand scheme of things and didn't really have any function except to publish Connor's quote-unquote suicide note, causing Evan to come clean of his deception and making his world fall apart in the process. Not since Amber from Invincible has a character with good intentions been built so badly by the writing that the character comes across as unlikable and hated by a majority of the audience. Oh, and both just happen to be people of color. Good choice, assholes! Alana Beck's only musical number that was made solely for the film adaptation of the musical serves as nothing more than a glorified feel-bad song about struggles with mental health and living under medication and being seen as invisible by the world around you. Hold on. A song about feeling invisible in a world that ignores your presence? In which you wish to be a part of but can't because of your mental problems and anxieties? That's waving through a window!
There are those anonymous ones stuck inside the perfect frame they're faking.
When you're falling in a forest and there's nobody around, do you ever really crash or even make a sound?
Oh, you've gotta be goddamn kidding me! Are you serious? No wonder this character is so insignificant! She's literally just a Black Evan Hansen! No, not that Black Evan. I mean another Black Evan Hansen, and one with even less narcissistic tendencies. Give me a fucking break. So we got 4 of the original songs missing in order to help stroke Ben Platt's ego, 2 songs that add nothing to the movie and only exist as glorified Oscar porn, which failed because none of them got nominated for good reason, and you got the existing soundtrack being butchered by the god-awful directing where Ben Platt is belting songs to a dinner table full of confused and terrified faces.
For forever this way, this way.
Zoe, go get the shotgun. Huh?
Even when the dark comes crashing through.
Is there any song in this entire movie that wasn't ruined by terrible decision making? Actually, there is. There is one song in this entire movie that gets all of the high energy, all the fun, all the excitement, all the creativity in both direction and execution. One that truly feels like an authentic musical performance. So, what is it?
Dear Evan Hansen, we've been way too out of touch. Things have been crazy, and it sucks that we don't talk that much.
I should tell you that I think of you each night. I rub my nipples and start moaning with delight.
You know what? No! I am not talking about this damn song! I already talked about the original, and this shit can burn like Alexander's letters after he published the Reynolds pamphlet.
Damn.
Instead, let's talk about the characters because I have plenty to say there than I do for this trash that should have been cut instead of good for you.
Holy shit!
Exclamation mark!